52 Traders, episode 31. Okay guys, we've got something lined up for you today which is slightly different from the norm. So I will still run through an interview with a successful trader out there by the name of Nick. He'd like to remain anonymous for the most part, so please bear that in mind. And more importantly, myself and Nick have arranged a special treat for 3 lucky listeners out there. So if you're listening today, you've got a chance to come on board, and he's offering 3 lucky traders free training sessions. So you're going to learn his 3 trade setups, the ones that he uses religiously. You're also going to get 5 days of intense 1-hour instruction for free. You're going to get free access to watch Nick trade live, and you're also going to get free access to Nick's tools for 30 days. So if you want to take part in this, listen to the show. At the end of the show, I'll tell you what you need to do. Or if you don't want to listen to the show and want to dive into it, you can jump onto 52traders.com now, search for Nick in the show notes, and you'll see exactly what you need to do. So without further ado, let's get on with the show.
Over the next year, your host Cam Hawkins gets inside the minds of 52 of the world's best traders to find out if he has what it takes to become one of them. Join Cam every week on the 52 Traders podcast or at 52traders.com to learn how to trade like the pros. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not investment, trading, or financial advice of any kind. Trading is very risky and could lose you all of your capital. Any comments about historical performance are not an indication of future results.
Before we kick things off, remember to sign up for my free 5-day mini course at automatemytrading.com, where I teach you how to build your very own auto trading robots without touching any code. Simply visit automatemytrading.com and leave your email. What's up traders, welcome to another weekly installment of 52 Traders, and today we're lucky enough to have Nick on the show. Nick hails from the US and only trades Forex these days. He's decided he wants to be anonymous on the show and has a special treat for you listeners out there. So welcome Nick, and thanks for joining me here on the 52 Traders podcast this week.
You're welcome, Cam. It's my pleasure.
Okay, so Nick is going to remain anonymous, so we're just going to call him Nick for the show. As I mentioned some of your highlights already, Nick, we know that's only a small part of your story. So can you tell the listeners a bit more about you personally and what first attracted you to trading?
Sure, absolutely. This is that begins an interesting story from my take. Well, I'm 45 years old. I first started studying the markets and focusing on the markets when I was just 15, much earlier than when I could actually trade. I was intrigued by, I think it was a Wall Street Journal article on the T-bill euro-dollar spread trade and the Japanese yen carry trades, which I thought were kind of an interesting concept, fairly risk averse, with some positioning and an interest rate component to profitability. My first self-directed trading account didn't come until I was 17, just about 18 years old, on a grandfather's signature. I initially hadn't made much, purely on penny stock speculation, but with companies that I thought were rather interesting. I remember logging into, I believe it was CompuServe at the time, into their bulletin boards and being able to download equity prices, nothing even remotely real time. He would then, repeat to me, being my grandfather, a quote from J.P. Morgan, and this kind of stuck with me for a long time, and it's still, there in my mind every day. There's always 2 reasons for somebody to do something. There's the reason, and then there's the real reason. Or he would say something, don't be skeptical, but if they tell you something is difficult to achieve, they're not really telling you the truth behind it, and you should investigate it yourself. It's likely much simpler. I've lived by those. And from a market approach, I've always dove into the more granular level of analysis, not because I was gifted by any means. I'm a photographer. I love the visual aspect of the charts, but having that visual aspect, I believe, has allowed me to tap into some more cyclical repetitions, and that has given me some insight into timing of cycles, which for me are the bigger picture. But if the bigger picture tells me the market's going lower, I also want to know why it's going lower. So on top of market cycles, I really focused a lot in the last 15, 16 years on volumes. Now, foreign exchange is kind of opaque and not so transparent. So I had to engineer literally software platforms that would give me the transparency that I wanted. We've studied everything from limit order books to all of the ECNs, all of the institutional ECNs that are available, and even some dark pools. And that gave me some insight and told me that, hey, markets were correlated price to volume by 93%. That's pretty good, but I wanted something a little bit better. So with some price action, which for me is king, I wanted to develop the analysis that would show me where markets were going to get some weak points, or where markets were going to transition to some downward movement. So, a few years behind volume analysis and cyclical analysis and price patterns and predictive cycles and some fairly precise timing, it really just tuned me in within the last 9.5, 10 years into very repetitious trading. What I like to, make the analogy for is just taking a virtual trading pit or taking a commodity trading pit off of the old world exchanges and putting them on top of a desktop. So you can see what volumes are doing. You can see how far prices are likely to go. That gives transparency. So I like to stay a little bit dynamic to the market, and I love to stay neutral to the market because I don't really care where the prices go as long as they move.
Cool. Okay. Thanks, Nick. That's a great background. And you're remaining anonymous for the show, but do you want to give us some sort of insight into your personal life and what you do outside of trading?
Photography. I love to shoot photography. I do a good bit of craft work with some woodworking and some finished work. I enjoy those things. Outside of that, my work is family, friends, some sailing, but for the most part, it's photography and my love for the markets.
Cool. And interesting you say there that, to validate what others have told you. So, the reason behind the real reason. This has also come out from other traders out there as well. So guys that have, sort of blindly looked at what somebody's taught them, haven't validated it, and then realize that they need to validate everything before they actually go ahead with something they're fully confident in, and that obviously helped them out and to become a successful trader. Okay, so maybe the what we're talking about at the end of the show will actually help some of you traders out there and you listeners out there. Okay, more on that later. For now, we're about to enter a round I like to call the fundamentals, and this is where I'll be asking Nick to help you understand what makes him a successful trader. So can you give the listeners some insight into your trading style, strategies you use, timeframes you trade, winning percentages, instruments, those sorts of things? Okay, so that was the first part of the show. Now, to hear the full episode, the best bits, join the family at 52traders.com. They usually go for about 45 minutes to an hour long, and trust me, these shows are great. They give us so much insight. Now, if you want to get there quickly, all you need to do is jump into the show description on your phone, and there's a link taking you directly to 52traders.com, where you can join the family over there and listen to the full episode. Now, in the rest of the show, I cover off what my traders do differently from the rest of us. So what is it that they're doing that we're not doing? What their typical trading day looks like, what they would do if they had a day job now and wanted to trade for a living, their preferred trading strategy, so actually how does it work? What we should be educating ourselves on when we're looking at a price chart, so what indicators we should use, what price levels, what chart patterns, all those sorts of things. Also, we touch on fundamentals as well, so how do we use news to our advantage? Trading psychology, tips, tricks, techniques, we go through those. Exiting trades, managing trades that you've got running. So we talk about their strategies. They give you strategies for exiting and managing trades. Books to read, websites to visit, all the best ones. Something that you should try and master over the next month. The broker and platform they use. And finally, last but not least, they give us a full trading strategy. So something you guys can try out at home on your PC this week in the markets if you wish. Now, to get the full episode, you need to jump onto 52traders.com, Join the family. As I said, it usually goes on for 45 minutes to an hour, and there's a link in the show description. So if you're on your phone, just jump on there, tap the link, and it'll take you straight to 52traders.com. Now, if you're thinking about learning to automate any of your trading, hiring a developer, learning to code, that sort of thing, then before you do that, jump onto my other website, automatemytrading.com. So if you're interested in automating some or all of your trading, then jump onto automatemytrading.com and you'll see me over there. For now, to hear the rest of this episode, all you need to do is click on the link in the show description or go to 52traders.com. See you there.